Today we're talking about mixing vocals, and if you want your songs to sound better, you have to know how to mix better vocals. But this isn't just going to be a list of effects to slap on your track, because the truth is every vocal is different and there's no one size fits all chain. What you need to understand are the fundamentals, the core principles that make any vocal sound professional, no matter the genre or the style. Now, I've been producing music and mixing vocals for over 5 years, and these are the exact techniques that took me from having no idea of what I was doing to dialing in vocals that hit hard every time. No guesswork, no fluff. Here are 3 crucial ways to level up your vocal mixes. But before we even start mixing vocals, we need to step back and rewire how we think about vocals in a track. Here is the mistake most producers make. We finish a beat, make it as full and polished as possible, then try to squeeze in the vocals into a beat that is already crowded. That is backward. The truth is, vocals are the most important element of most songs. They should be treated as the main event, not an afterthought. So if the space that your vocal is supposed to sit in is already filled with instruments, you are setting yourself up for struggle. So the solution is, as you are producing, always ask, where is the vocal going to sit? And don't overcrowd the frequency range the vocal needs to breathe. Now, when it comes to the chorus where everything tends to get crowded and dense, there are mixing techniques that can help you at this point, such as sidechaining, dynamic EQ, panning of the elements left and right. All these are used to carve out space and make your vocal cut through the mix. But the bottom line is, if you want clean, pro-sounding vocals, it starts even before you press record. It starts with your mindset. But you see, creating space for vocals doesn't really guarantee you better vocals. When it comes to actually mixing vocals, you hear about a ton of plugins and vocal chains, but everything revolves around 2 core tools. And if you can understand these 2 and get them right, every other thing falls into place. I'm talking about compression and EQ. Starting with compression, this controls the dynamic range. That is the difference between the loud and the quiet part of a track. If your vocal is too dynamic, it won't sit right in the mix. Some words will jump out too much, while others will be swallowed in the mix. Compression evens it out, so the whole performance can stay present, clean, and controlled. EQ, on the other hand, is a tool we use to shape the tone of a sound. It allows us to boost and cut specific frequencies, whether it's removing mudness in the low end, reducing harshness in the highs, or bringing clarity to the mids. In simple terms, EQ helps you sculpt the vocal to sit perfectly in the mix and sound exactly how you want it to. So if you can train your ears to hear what needs fixing and understand how to use EQ to fix it, you'll be way ahead of the game. Like I said earlier, once you get the compression and the EQ right, every other thing falls into place. But this is where many producers drop the pen. When there's still a whole other side that needs attending to. When it comes to getting the compression and EQ right, many people are already doing that. They follow the usual steps, the standard approach, where the goal is to make the vocal sit well in the mix. They balance everything out and make it sound clean and polished. I call this the classical side of mixing vocals. But there's another side, which is the creative side of mixing vocals. And this is where your taste and your style and your identity as a producer comes in. Where you use effects not just for clarity, but for expression. Let me break it down like this. I see mixing vocals in 2 stages. First of all, we have the classical phase. Getting your vocals technically right, clean EQ, controlled compression, nothing clashing, and it sounds good. Awesome. Then there is the creative phase, where you go beyond the rules. This is where you experiment, add flavor, and make your mix sound uniquely yours. This could mean throwing on pitch-shifted delays, performance shifting, creative reverb throws, stutter effects, or even use compression in ways that color the vocal instead of controlling it. These creative moves most of the time aren't always obvious all around the track. They come in here and there, like on ad-libs and specific phrases to, grab attention or bring the listener back in. But they can also be applied across the whole vocal if that's what fits the vibe. It's not about technically sounding correct. It's about making it feel right in the track. When you mix classical with the creative, that is when your vocal starts to stand out. Now, here's an extra tip I want to give to you, especially if you're mixing singing vocals. Most of us are familiar with using auto-tune to pitch correct vocals. The usual process goes like this. You find the key of the song, you set the retune speed, and you let the plugin do the work. Simple, right? But here's a twist. Relying solely on automatic pitch corrections can actually cause you some problems here and there. I used to run into major issues with auto-tuning that made my vocals sound unnatural or just off. And I realized that the plugin wasn't actually the problem. It was how I was using it. So here's a better approach. To first of all, simply manually tune your vocals. If you're using FL Studio, there are stock plugins like NewTone that can help you with this, but Antype's Autotune and some other plugins also has this feature that lets you go in and make precise adjustments, move individual notes, fine-tune transitions, and shape the performance exactly how you want it. It takes a little more time, but the results are worth it. Now you might be asking, why should I actually go through this process and stress? Auto-tune alone isn't perfect. It can miss subtle pitch issues or even create artifacts that ruin the natural feel of your vocal. And if you're going for a clean, transparent sound, not the obvious auto-tune effect, manual correction gives you way more control. You can adjust the retune speed per note and even cut or stretch out notes individually. That level of detail is what gives your vocal a professional and polished feel. So next time, instead of letting auto-tune do everything, try going manually. You will hear the difference. If you want a tutorial on how to use Newton, comment in the descriptions below. And if you're still here, that means you're very much interested in vocal mixing and mixing in general. And to that effect, I'm building a mixing course specifically designed for producers like you, and I want your input. There's a very short survey linked in the description below. It will take you not more than 2 to 5 minutes. I would like to know exactly what you want to learn, what challenges you face, and how I can make this course the most valuable to you. If you've ever wanted to truly master mixing, this is your chance to help shape the perfect course. I'm currently working on a video about EQ, and this will go into extreme details of what EQ is about and how to use EQ. Okay, it's going to be over an hour long. So if you're interested in this, don't forget to subscribe and turn on the notification bell so that you don't miss out when that video drops. So let's recap. Great vocals isn't about stacking plugins, or copying someone else's vocal chain. It starts with your mindset, understanding that the vocal is the centerpiece of the track. Then it comes down to space, making sure your production leaves room for the vocals to shine. From there, it's all about mastering the 2 core tools, which are compression and EQ. Get those right, and every other thing just always finds a way to fall into place. But don't stop at clean and polished. Once you've gotten that right, take it further. Experiment, get creative, add your own flavor, your identity, your sound, because that is what separates a good mix from a signature one. Now, if you found this video helpful, don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe to this channel, and also enable notifications so that you don't miss out when the next video drops. Thanks guys for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.